So I want to preface this by saying I am not a dramatic person. I do not tell ghost stories. I do not believe in that stuff. And if you had asked me a year ago whether anything like this could happen to me, I would have laughed at you. I am just a regular guy who hunts. Every January I take a week by myself at a lease. A buddy of mine co-owns with a couple other guys. It is out in the middle of nowhere. Small town nearby that you have never heard of. Nearest gas station is about 14 miles away. No cell service, nothing. I have been doing it for 5 years. It is my reset. 1 week of silence, no work, no family stuff, no obligations, just me, my rifle, and the woods. I leave my dog at home because he barks at squirrels and blows every hunt. I arrived on a Wednesday, unpacked, got settled, checked the wood stove, wrote the date, and my name in the guest log that my buddy keeps in the cabin. Just a spiral notebook, a tradition he started. Did everything I always do. Sat the stand the first 2 mornings, saw deer, did not shoot, split firewood in the afternoons, slept like a rock. It was perfect. Day 3. I come back from the stand around 10 in the morning, and the guest log is open on the table. I was almost certain I left it closed. I look at the page, and below my entry, in different handwriting, in pencil, someone had written one line. It said,
"Nice to know someone is out here."
My first thought was that my buddy came out without telling me, and left it as a joke. So I messaged him on my satellite communicator, the only real communication I had out there. He messaged back 40 minutes later and said he had not been out and asked what was up. I went and pulled my trail cameras. One of them, on the northeast trail, had a photo from 2 nights ago, 1:14 in the morning, motion trigger, and it is just a person, dark jacket, hood up, walking away from the camera toward the tree line. The next frame is empty. A camera on the trail behind the cabin had the same thing. 8 minutes later, same figure, moving toward the cabin. Someone had been on this property in the middle of the night, 2 days before I found the note. I did not leave. I probably should have. But I wedged the door that night, kept my rifle at the foot of the bunk, and told myself it was probably just a trespasser who wandered through. Day 4, I come back from the morning hunt, and there is a second note, same handwriting, more words this time. It said,
"You are a hard sleeper. I watched you come in from the stand this morning. You walk with a hitch on your right side. The coffee smells good from the tree line. I do not mean you any harm. I just want you to know I am here."
I read that 3 times. They could smell my coffee. They were close enough to the cabin to smell a pot of coffee through the walls, and I had walked right past the tree line coming in from the stand and did not see a thing. I messaged my buddy everything. He called the county sheriff, who said they would do a drive-by on the county road. My buddy told me very clearly to come home. I stayed 1 more night. I do not know why. Stubbornness, maybe. That night, sometime after midnight, I heard footsteps on the porch. Slow, careful steps. The kind of steps you take when you do not want to be heard. I heard a hand touch the door from the outside. Just the lightest pressure. The door bowing in maybe half an inch. And then nothing. I laid there with my hand on my rifle for almost an hour before I felt okay enough to breathe normally again. In the morning, there were boot prints in the mud right in front of the door. I was packed and almost to the truck when I went back inside to grab my thermos and saw a third note. This one was not in the log. It was folded on the table, a separate piece of notebook paper. It said,
"I know you have to go home soon. I will be gone before you are. Do not worry about the dog. I am not an animal. But he really should not be left on the porch at night. Anyone could walk up."
I want you to understand something. I had not mentioned my dog to anyone out there, not to my buddy, not in any messages, not in the log. There was nothing in that cabin, nothing in my truck, nothing visible that told anyone I had a dog, which meant this person did not learn about me at the cabin. They already knew who I was before I got there. I drove home without stopping, called my wife the second I got a signal, and told her to get the dog inside immediately. She went out back to get him, and then I heard her voice change. And she just said my name. That is it, just my name, in a tone I had never heard from her before. My dog was on the front porch, not the back, where he always goes. The front porch, between the rocking chairs. He looked like he was sleeping. He was not. The vet said it was probably something in his food and that it would have been quick. There was a note tucked under his collar, same lined paper, same handwriting. It said,
"Made it home safe. Glad you did too. Sleep well.
We filed a report. A detective drove out to the lease and documented everything. The notes, the boot prints, the camp they eventually found in the national forest about 400 yards off the property line. Cold fire pit, a few tin cans, nothing useful. A partial fingerprint from the note on the dog came back with no match in any database. The part that the detective kept coming back to, the part I still think about, is the timeline. That last note at the cabin was written while I was still in the woods, 60-something miles away, but the note on the dog was already there when I got home. Whoever this was had already been at my house, already knew my address, already knew about the dog. The hunting trip was not where this started. They had already been watching me long before that. The cabin was just where they decided to introduce themselves. The case is still open. Nobody was ever charged. I sold my share of the lease before the following season. I do not hunt alone anymore.